When society settles into the dead center of human action, it enters a thermodynamic trap. This is the state of the lukewarm, a total absence of momentum that acts as a ceiling on progress. Every movement operates within a coordinate system driven by two hidden axes. The vertical axis represents temperature, or will. The top is hot, a proactive force. The bottom is cold, a suppressive force. The horizontal axis measures saturation. Left is wet, universal benefit. Right is dry, selfish extraction. Remaining at the origin point generates no energy and sustains no life. In this system, a lack of position is an active threat to survival. Most well-intentioned movements begin in the bottom left, cold, wet water. This is the state of passive compassion. This ideological water connects people, but it lacks the heat of active will. It yields to its environment, making it impossible to build a lasting structural architecture. To find momentum, the system must shift into the bottom right quadrant, cold, dry earth. Here, fluid thoughts lose their moisture and freeze into rigid, undeniable facts. These rigid facts function as heavy stones. They can be thrown to suppress others, or they can be used constructively as the stable foundation for a seed to take root. While a cold, rigid definition of reality is a hostile resting place, it provides the necessary friction for growth. You cannot generate upward force without a solid floor to push against. Pushing off that foundation, an idea bursts into the upper half of the framework, seeking the energy required to scale. This brings us to the top right quadrant, hot, dry fire. This is a state of maximum proactive will, but absolute zero universal benefit. When high proactive will operates with zero universal benefit, the energy concentrates entirely on the self. This is the state of the predator, extreme ambition fueled by the extraction of value from the surrounding environment. Because fire is an exothermic reaction, it cannot sustain itself. It must constantly extract and consume external fuel to maintain its structure, radiating its energy outward until the local resources are gone. Human systems cluster here because the heat of individual power is intoxicating, often blinding participants to the systemic extraction happening beneath them. Eventually, the system hits a limit. It burns through the available resources and reaches a thermodynamic wall where growth is no longer possible. The end result is a mechanical reset. A massive deluge of reality crashes down on the reaction, extinguishing the fire and dropping the vector back to absolute zero. Selfish ambition eventually consumes the very tracks it runs on. Without a sustainable fuel source, the engine fails, dropping the survivors back into a state of apathy. Breaking this cycle requires a difficult mechanical pivot, carrying the heat of ambition across the axis into the realm of universal benefit. This is the top left quadrant, hot, wet air, often called Pneuma. This air acts as a structural, connective medium. It is a state of high pressure that provides the buoyancy necessary for complex systems to grow. Society sustains itself here by balancing the building energy of heat with the life-giving saturation of moisture. However, this high-energy state is not a permanent resting place. The framework requires a continuous transition to remain stable. Systems in this quadrant inevitably reach a point of saturation. They cool, gather the humidity of collective progress, and condense back into liquid. This condensed water falls back to the rigid earth below. It softens the hard soil and hydrates the ground so the next generation can begin its own climb. Escaping the lukewarm trap requires a commitment to this ongoing cycle. Impact comes from using your will to generate lift, and then allowing that success to hydrate the environment for those who follow.